Right, everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to cover basically how to get more traffic / leads through SEO. So basically in this video, we're going to talk about this here. So Google SEO and Bing SEO, the different strategies. It's going to be more of an overview style video. We have some videos covering these more in depth, but this one is going to be more the best strategies, if you could say so. So best ways to rank higher using SEO. Now, in terms of how to get more leads to your business, more traffic to your business, these are all the ways to do it. So we're going to be doing videos about all of these individually. So review sites, search engine results, social media, and so on. When leads notice your business, now they go into your funnel. So they see your website, they see your reputation, they see your content. So if you're a local service business, this is the path people are going to go through. So basically we want to increase this version, this section here. So how to get more people to actually notice your business. And now we're going to talk about how to get that done through SEO. So if ever you want videos about this whole funnel, we have some on the channel. So if you're curious about the whole thing and how to optimize your sales process, your LTV and so on, we have videos covering those. But in this video, we're really going to go ahead and do search engine results. Now, in terms of SEO, one way I found best to express it is through checklists or checkpoints, just to make it easier to understand. So the main aspects of your SEO, first thing is going to be your keyword research. When I say keyword research, I'm talking about getting the best keywords, or the more, if you could think about it this way, there's going to be three factors to it. So you're going to have your search volume, buyer intent, and competitive difficulty. So if you were to think of I'm just going to open a new spreadsheet. And what we're going to do is just, first thing for SEO is going to be keyword research. It's going to be important to visualize this. So if you can imagine keyword research as being like this. So I'm going to take an example. Now we're talking about service businesses. So let's just talk about this for a roofing company, just to make it easier. And you're going to have a bunch of things people search. So if they're searching for a roofing company, they're searching to get a roof replaced. They're going to maybe type, on Google, they're going to type roof installation. They might type flat roof, industrial roof, roofing contractor, and so on and so forth. So you're gonna have a list of the ways people try to search for your service on Google. One thing you want to do here is you want to basically get this list. You could ask ChatGPT for it. You could go through your competition. You could use tools like SEMrush or Ubersuggest and so on, and basically see what your competition is ranking for. So see what people in the market are looking to or typing to get those results. Or you could even look at Google Ads data and see what people are spending money on. So if there's a high CPC, so high cost per click, so people are spending a lot to get those clicks at that keyword, that means that the keyword has high value. So it has high search volume and it's high intent. So usually people are spending money for it, that means it's pretty good. So these are going to be the three ways to find them. So maybe I could try to write them out here. So you got your Google search. Actually, there's a bunch of ways. So let me just go with the main ones. Google search, meaning you search up let's say businesses in your area, and you see what are the keywords they're using in their title tags, their meta descriptions, their URLs, and whatever your best competition is using. Those are going to be some keywords there. You could ask ChatGPT. In any case, you want to have a list maybe of 1,000 keywords. The more keywords you have, or search terms, I should say, the more search terms you have, the better it is. Then you got your ChatGPT, then you got your tools, so your SEMrush, your Ubersuggest, so SEMrush, Ubersuggest, and Ahrefs. They're going to be the most common ones you got. So excuse me for my typing. I'm just gonna do these videos fast. I'm not gonna be too pertinent on that. Anyways, you got your Google search, ChatGPT, tools, and even your own mind. So you could just think of things that people are searching, and then the ones that are probably going to be best for you is going to be the dependent on your business type keywords. So dependent on your business type keywords. So what you're going to be doing here, so through this, you're going to find the keywords. When you find the keywords, you put them in a list. So like the list we have above. So let's say if I would put this down, we have this list here. You might even have some that are specific to your brand. So maybe ABC Roofing, your roofing company is called ABC Roofing, ABC Roofing Contractors, and so on and so forth. Now, what you're going to do here is you want to see which one is best. But how can you decide what keyword is best? Well, there's three factors to take into consideration. Number one is going to be your search volume. So that's going to be how many people are searching for the keyword. Then you've got your competition difficulty. So how competitive is this keyword? And we're going to talk about how you get that metric. And then you have your buyer intent. So how intent is the person on buying what while typing that search term? So if they're saying roof installation, they're pretty much looking to buy buy your service, to try to repair their service. But if it was maybe roof design ideas, even if it would have a lot of search volume and the competition was low for it, the buyer intent isn't relative to you, so it's not worth it for you in terms of getting leads. So this would be the formula here. So if you could imagine this like this, you would say search volume would be times buyer intent. So if I could put this like this, so times the buyer intent, then all of them divided. So if I were to just do it like this, so visually we have a semblance of a formula. It would be search volume times buyer intent divided by competition difficulty. And search volume, you would rank it from 0 to infinity, basically. So let's say 0 to, it could be 100,000. So how many searches you're getting a month, basically. Buyer intent, you're going to have 0. This is how we scale it for this formula. It's going to be 0 to a 1.00. And then competition difficulty is going to be 0 to a 1.00. Meaning, if you go to the tool, and you can use tools to get this data from, basically, if you go on Uber Suggest and you see that, let's say, roof installation has 1,000 searches a month, you see that flat roofs has 2,000 visitors a month, industrial roofs has 300. I'm just going to invent a bunch of numbers for these here. So let's just go with this. There you go. So this is the search volume they have per month. Obviously, you'll be using the tools, you actually have the data. Now you want to know what's the buyer intent. So how intent the person is to buy. You could use ChatGPT for this. You could ask it a prompt, like you give all the information about your website, and then ChatGPT could give you the buyer intent depending on the keyword. But let's just go manually just to make it easier to understand. So roofing installation, okay, pretty high on buyer intent. So maybe you put this as a 0.80 because it's not as specific, but it's pretty high. Flat roof, a little less specific. So maybe a 0.6, something like that, and especially depending on the service you have. So you don't want to rank for flat roof if you're doing a lot of shingle roofing. So if you're doing tilted roofing, if you could say, you don't want to rank for flat roofs. So flat roofs is not going to be one of your top keywords. In any case, industrial roofing, and maybe you really want to do industrial roofing, so this is going to be your 0.9. Roofing contractor, this is relatively high in search volume and so on. So ABC roofing, this is to your business. So if they're searching for your business, it's pretty high buying intent. Again, roofing contractors, so again, buying intent is going to be high, so you could go there. And then again, roofing design is going to be maybe a 0.2. So very, very loosely related to your brand. In terms of competition difficulty, you'll be using the SEMrush tools to get that data. So I'm just going to make this pretend. Basically, it's going to be how hard is it going to be for you to compete for that keyword, to rank #1 for that keyword. They're going to give you a rating, you translate it into this. And what's going to happen now is you're going to have a formula where basically you do this times this, and then divided by this is going to give you a number. Now that number is going to basically be the rating of your keyword. So how good of a keyword it is for you. So if you could see here, you see that the search volume, so the amount of search volumes in this one, flat roofs, is bigger. Even though the buyer intent and competition difficulty is higher, it's more worth it to go for this keyword, flat roof, just because the volume is so high that it's going to be worth it for you. So you see how maybe something that's more related to your brand, or let's say here, it's very related to your brand, which actually I think the formulas are working right now. But in any case, you get the idea that even if it's extremely high in terms of buyer intent, but it's very very low in search volume, it's not going to be worth it for you. So basically what you want is you want the highest here, you want the highest number here, you want the highest number here, and you want the lowest number here. And that gives you you could say the ranking. Well, actually, let me remove that. So that's going to be your ranking. And that's how you could do it. So now we have a list. So we could say, okay, well, from these keywords, if I were to, let's say, do this, maybe filter here. Actually, it's not going to look like this. So let's go here. You would filter. Actually, let's just do this instead. And then you could decide, okay, from A to Z, from Z to A. And see, in this case, flat roof is going to be #1, roof installation is going to be #2, roof design ID is going to be #3. In this example, it's #3. In reality, it's probably not going to be. industrial roof, so on and so forth. And so this is how you're going to be using this is going to be your list now. You might have 100 keywords, 1,000 keywords. It doesn't really matter the amount, because at certain points you can only basically use, I would say, 100, 200, and then it's just, unless you're doing very advanced SEO techniques, most cases for most local service businesses, 100 is going to be is going to suffice. So now that you have all these keywords, what you're going to be able to do is you go into whatever, in terms of SEO, whatever that is in your front-end SEO and your back-end SEO and your link building strategies, you want to place your best keywords at the best spots, your second best keywords at the second best spots, and so on and so forth. And that's how you want to structure your whole strategy, you could say. So now let's imagine here, let's go back to the checklist. So you've done your keywords, you've got you've ranked them by the formula and so on. Now you've got your top keywords. Now what you want to do is, for your front-end SEO, you want your title tags. Basically, title tags is when somebody's searching. So maybe I could give you an example. So roofing contractor NYC. Give you an example here. These are sponsored, so we're not going to count these. In any case, this is going to be the first search result here. So this guy here, NY roofing, roofer Brooklyn, fat roofer leak repair. This is the #1 guy on Google search, and so this is his title tag. This is his meta description, and this is his URL. And so these three things you could change. You could even change the business name here. You could change the image. You could add this image. You could add other information like this. You could even add, if I go here, you could add information like this. In any case, what you want to do is you want to have those best keywords from first to last. So those top 3 keywords in the example we gave was flat roof, roof installation, roof design ideas. You basically want to do like he's doing here, but flat roof, roof installation, roof design ideas. That's going to be your title tag for your homepage. And then here you would have, in your meta description, you have the same type of keywords, but in a more sentence format. So that would be the gist of doing that for your title tags. Same thing for your meta description. Same things even for your URLs. So now here, this is his homepage. So he doesn't have a URL, but in this case here, you see on the Yelp, it's yelp.ca, home services and roofing. You could have keywords there. That might help you rank a little bit, increases conversions and so on. So that's the idea with keywords and how to put it within your SEO and how to see it, basically how to get the idea behind it. Now, in terms of these are going to be the main optimizations you could do. I'm not going to cover all the details of it, but ensure the character length is between 50 and 60 characters and so on and so forth. Here in the meta description, you could have it, if you want, you could pause this and check it out yourself. URLs, you could do the URLs like this and so on. Then you got your snippets. So snippets is going to be another way to get some content on Google. So basically this is a snippet, if I'm correct here. This is a snippet. This is a snippet as well, I believe. And so on and so forth. So you got some information here. So these are snippets. So actually this is for sponsored, so that doesn't count, but that's a snippet. So you could basically have that information there. You could optimize it and again use the keywords for it. So the main idea would be, if you have the keywords properly set, if you know your rankings, then you could have all the information set. Now, one thing I do have to mention is that every single title tag and every single meta description for every single page should be different. So whatever you're doing in terms of SEO strategy, it's going to be different for every page. Now, the thing, now that this is where it gets a little bit more complicated for SEO, is that if you notice, okay, you offer flat roofs, but you also offer shingle roofing. So you offer these 2 services. Well, if you have a page that's, let's say, abcroofing.com/ we're going to call it flat roof. On that page, you want to have flat roof as your main keyword. But on the other page where it's going to be abcroofing.com/ let's call it shingle roofing. Shingle roof. You're gonna want to have shingle roof on that page as your main keyword. So it's basically this calculation here is also going to depend on the page you have. So this is going to be for your whole website, meaning your homepage and all the main content you're going to be doing. You could do this formula. But then what you could do is you could do buyer intent dependent on the actual page you're directing traffic to. So buyer intent is going to be higher if somebody searches flat roof and they go to the shingle roof page. They're going to be less likely to purchase than if they go to the flat roof page. And so on the flat roof page, you want to keep mentioning flat roof. And that's going to help you rank higher on Google for that keyword as well. And you want the page that's basically dedicated to flat roofs to show up first, and then shingle roof to show up second or for other keywords. So I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, but obviously SEO has a lot of detailed components to it. In any case, that's going to be the gist of the general idea of it. Now then you could optimize your domain names. You could buy a bunch of them. One thing that I've noticed could work is that if you're in your area and maybe there's a domain called roofingnyc.com and nobody's ever bought it, and it could cost you $20 a year, then you can buy it, because there's some people who are searching for that term. They're searching, so it says somebody's searching, they're going to search roofingnyc.com instead of saying roofingnyc and looking at the search results. So if you could capture those leads, this is a well-known strategy, for bigger businesses. I believe even Andrew Tate, he has a university.com. So actually, if somebody's searching university.com, they go to his page. So even if they don't know about Andrew Tate and what he offers, he has that domain, so people are going to that page. X.com is another great example. A lot of people are just typing X.com, and so there's already search volume without even knowing about your brand. So people are already searching for it, they're already going on that page, but there's nothing to be there. Another trick for domain names is you might want to buy some from your competitors who are out of business that closed. And so they might have sold all your assets, they might have closed their business completely, and that domain maybe in a year is going to be available at the market. You can buy that domain, and there's going to be some people who have it in their tabs on their computers, they have it shared to someone, they have their information somewhere, and so you could capture some of those leads and get them to you. So that could be a great idea for local markets, especially if you have a big competitor that hasn't, that's recently quit the business, quit the industry, then you could actually capture those leads basically for free. It costs you $20 a year, something like that. Now, for on the website, so the actual content, in terms of the keywords, you want to front load the best keywords and use long tail exact matches. When I talk about front load, I mean you want to put the top keywords at front, so the top keywords at the top. So if we're talking again, now this example, it's a little bit difficult because we only have 6 keywords, but flat roof would be the first things you would mention. You would mention your title and your description and so on. In your description, your secondary title, you put roof installation. In your third title, you put roofing design ideas, and you do a description around that. So you would basically put these as much as possible to the top, and you could always play around with it too, because you could say flat roof is one search term people are searching for, but people are also searching for roof installation. And what you can do is say flat roof installation, and so you're covering both of these at the same time in a sense. And so I don't think there is any discrimination between having it just as flat roof or just as roof installation. And so you could basically combine all of these together. So you could basically do, flat roof installation contractors or something like that. So you could play around with that idea. Then after that, you got your programmatic SEO. This is probably the best strategy we've noticed for our clients in the past, is basically you create a page for every single service or every single location that you offer your services in. So this is a good SEO strategy to get you more leads, more people to notice your business. Basically, if you have a 10-page website, maybe you have a website for every single service that you offer. But what you can do is basically have a page dedicated to every single search term that you've noticed that you've recognized as being a high ranking. And so if you notice that flat roof ranks high, well, you can have a page dedicated to flat roof. And so maybe you have it already on your service, but maybe roofing design ideas you don't have it. So you can have a page dedicated either blogs or actual pages dedicated to these things, and that's going to basically do, if you can imagine your Google as a social media, well, obviously the more pages you have, it's like the more content you're posting on social media, and if it's related to what people are searching for, then there's a higher likelihood that you rank for number one and they actually appear. Because right now maybe your website only has 10 pages, or if you were to add those extra 20 pages, 30 pages, 200 pages even, you could rank for those keywords that maybe your competitors aren't even ranking for, so you could capture the number one spot. And so that whenever somebody's searching for a service related to your business, you can actually capture that traffic, the essence of that traffic. So that's going to be an idea there. Then you got some miscellaneous tips. Create programmatic pages for all your competitors' keywords pages. So you actually do a page dedicated to you versus your competitor. So if somebody's searching, we're talking about before, ABC Roofing might have a search volume. That's your business. In this case, ABC Roofing will be your business. Well, maybe you have XYZ Roofing, which is your competitor. You can actually create a page called XYZ Roofing versus ABC Roofing. And now you're actually going to end up being, the number 2 result when people are searching XYZ Roofing, because you're going to have a page dedicated to you versus them. So you might get some leads from that. If you're new to the competition, you might actually get some leads from that. So it's a very strong strategy. Strongly recommend, depending on the type of relationship you have with your competitors. Create programmatic pages for that. Then you optimize your site for content for all devices. This is pretty universal. And set up schema markups relevant to your industry. So you got a few optimizations there. Now, This is front-end SEO. Again, this video is going to be a little bit long, so I'm going to try to go even faster. But front-end SEO is basically going to be whatever client sees. So, we're talking about before here. So your title tags, your meta descriptions, all this information here. How to optimize what client sees on the website. Now, in terms of back-end SEO, that's more going to be about what the client doesn't see. So in case of 404 pages, people do see it, but in the sense connecting them. So 301 redirects, SSL certificates, the XML sitemap, and so on and so forth. So this one I'm going to cover a little bit quicker also because it's more technical. I have a video covering this more in depth. It's just going to be the gist of the ideas. Basically, what you want to do, you want to set up your schema markups. So these are your organization, local business, product reviews, whatever. You could go on Google Search Console, or you type in Google schema markups, and they're going to give you a list. Actually, maybe I could show you Google schema markups. There you go. And I believe here they have a list of all the types of, maybe if I go back and I write list. Yeah, that's it. So you have all the types of schema markups that Google allows you to do. So depending on the type of business you have, you could set these all up within the code of your website, basically appear on Google for these types of things. So if ever you've noticed, if you write certain things pop up. If you're an event type business, you could have these things. If this is one that's important for a lot of service businesses, FAQ. So you could basically have an FAQ, you take up more space. So if you could imagine here, now I'm saying roofing NYC, which since I'm from Montreal, I might not be seeing everything. Let's just skip here. So here you see some information there. Let me see if I can find other schema markups. Again, this information here. It's going to be up to Google to decide what they want to show. So in a sense, you can't control it much. Maybe if I were to go to Dentist Montreal. Again, the information is not showing up. But in any case, you can have this information here. You can have the image shown there and all that type of stuff. And so if you're not doing it, this is one way to do it. So you could go to this page here. So you basically go Google Search Central schema markups, and you can set all these things up so you capture more space on the on Google in general. So that's going to be the main thing for backend SEO. Then you've got for schema markups, then you've got your robust TXT. So basically any page that's for a little bit more advanced of a strategy, but basically it's going to be you teach the pages, you have the code in the page that basically indicates to Google that page should not be searched up by Google. Meaning that if you have 200 pages and out of those 200 pages you have 20 of them that you don't want people to see or you don't want people to search up, you could block it so people can't see it on search. So if you have thank you pages, if you have anything that you're using for your ads and you don't want people to accidentally go on them, that's a way to do it. Plus it helps with rankings, because if you have a more concise website and every single page has a lot of traffic, that's an indicator to Google that your overall website has a lot of value. Now, if you're too diluted, meaning you have 300 pages and maybe your 100 worst performing ones, could be really affecting your rankings negatively. So that's something to consider there. You got your XML sitemap. Basically, it's like a map of your website, and you could upload it to Google as well as Bing. And that's just gonna basically give them the map of your website and make them understand it better, which increase the likelihood that they rank you for the proper keywords and so on. You got your href flag tags. This is going to be more for international businesses or businesses that have many languages on their site. You got some breadcrumb navigations that you set up within your site. Again, not going to cover these too much. 404 pages. Basically, the 404 page is going to be, so maybe I could give you guys an example with our website. So if I go to visionsdigital.com, this is our website here. And let's say if I were to press this and I will put a bunch of, maybe you won't see it, but so I would put a bunch of random letters here. I don't have a page called this, but what's going to happen is that you're actually going to be led to this here. So in our case, it's to download the 12 trainings. Now it's loading a little bit slowly because of this video, but in any case, you want to give information when people are searching for random pages. Maybe they made a typo, maybe the link that they had was broken. So you can actually create a page that's useful instead of just having a sorry, this page does not exist. So if I were to go, let's say to Dentist Montreal, let's go with this one. And just to give you an example, if I were to, go like this, they have, okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, that was their old website. So if I were to go like this, Okay, you see, so actually they did it properly. So they have, sorry, a 404 error page is occurred. They made it nice and aesthetic. But now if I were to give you maybe another example, let's go for a worse ranked one. So let's go for this one. Most likely they haven't done it. So if I were to go to a random page, you see it just says this. Doesn't give more information, doesn't give more content to the user. So how many people are going to end up on these pages? Well, depending if you're doing a redesign of your website, if you've had your website for a long time, people want to be typing wrong things. So you might have 2%, 5% of people landing on these pages, and that obviously reduces conversion rate, because there's a high likelihood that if they see, the other page, like where the other one that I was showing before, I don't know why it's, so they have a redirect here. So in any case, if I were to go like this, who is more likely to then contact them, if they see this page or if they see this page? So anyways, that's a little optimization there that you could do for 4 pages. You can set these up. Then what you might have here is your 301 redirects as well. So that's for any page that you want. Basically, instead of leading to a 404 error page, it would redirect them to your homepage or any page that you want. So this is going to be especially good for if you're doing a new website redesign. You want your old URLs, maybe you have an old domain, you want them, all that traffic to redirect to new pages. That's going to keep the link juice. So it's going to keep the SEO, or the how could you say, the power of those pages, and you could transfer that power to the new pages that you have. So through that 301 redirect. So that's the strategy there. Now, in terms of link building SEO, so this is going to be the last section here about optimizing your Google SEO to get more leads and more visitors to your site. Now, basically, we're talking, more about Google. In terms of Bing, I'm going to go through this quick, but optimizations in terms of Bing are going to be basically that are different from Google. Is basically you want to upload your sitemap to Bing as well. So we're talking about before Google, you upload your sitemap, the map of your website. You want to upload it to Bing as well, because there's around 2 to 6% of traffic that goes through Bing. And so if you have it uploaded there, then there's a high likelihood you rank on Bing and you could actually get some visitors from Bing. Then what you want to do in terms of slight variations from Google, Google doesn't reward domains that have keywords in them. So if you have your domain and it has, it's your business name is ABC company, and your roofing company, well, having abcroofing.com is going to be better on Bing. It's actually going to be a ranking factor, having that roofing in there. And so you might want to purchase domains that have that keywords and link them to your website, so that Bing recognizes you as a better authority website. Basically said you would rank higher on Bing for that, but on Google, no. So something to keep in mind, at least until the data today, I believe. So that's going to be that for that. Now, in terms of link building SEO. So link building, if you can imagine this way, it's as if you had, let's say you had a business, a physical 3D business that was online. So on the internet, we could imagine a business on the internet. The more roads that connect to your business, so the more websites, so the more other businesses that connect to you, the more likely Google's going to recognize you as high authority or high ranking or value. So the more roads you have leading to you, the better you rank, the higher you rank. The more roads you have leading to other people also shows Google that you're part of a network, and so you're interchanging. Basically, Google, what they want is they want the most amount of people to spend time on their profile, on their listing, on the Google, because that means they're going to get the most money. And so they want that. And so if you can imagine it that way, well, you want to be a part of Google that's an advantage to Google, meaning you have a lot of things linking to you, and you linking to a lot of other things, so that Google recognizes you as you being a valuable source in the market, you could say. Now, the way to do these, again, you want to do you want to evaluate your search terms, you want to evaluate your best keywords, and basically these are going to be used whenever you're linking to your website from other websites. So let's say the common strategies for backlinks are going to be, you have your foundation links, basically the foundation of what you set, just so you don't get reported by Google. So it's just this more about security. But then you got all the continuous links you could do: post comment links, sponsorship links, subdomains. I have a video covering this. Again, I'm going to do more of an overview in this one. But basically all of these are ways you could get these roads connecting to you. You could get these roads from higher authority places. The higher the authority, the better it is. So meaning, you have government sites, you have private blog, high ranking blogs or something like that. That's going to help you get better rankings. So the better the routes leading to you, the better Google's going to think you are. And then that's going to be the main ways for you to get more leads and visitors to business and rank higher. Now, in terms of the keywords, like I was saying before, this is what I want to mention. So let's say your main keyword was flat roof. Well, if somebody's writing a blog about your business on they're talking about your business on their profile, what they want to say is, let's say, new best roofing company for flat roofs, okay, is whatever, ABC Roofing. What they want is, maybe they want this URL to be pointing to you. So here it would have a link. It would have to link to www.roofing, roofing.com. So it would be like this. So it would be linking to it as well as that keyword. So basically what that's going to indicate to Google, is that keyword is what people are searching for when they go on your website. So now you're going to rank higher for that keyword in a sense. So you could do this at a bunch of places. You could do this a bunch of times. Now the thing with that is that there's more nuance to it. Now this is going to be an overview video, but there's nuance to it where you want to have variations of the type of text that they're called anchor text, so the type of text that people put on their blogs or whatever. So branded meaning your business name. So if they're linking through the text, you want it to be your business name for 70% of the time. Generic anchors meaning, other types of keywords that are more generic. Partial match anchors, so partial match to the keywords that you have, the best keywords that you want to rank for. And only 1% or under 1% you want to be exact match. That's to ensure that Google doesn't report your business as being spammy or doing fake backlink strategies. Now this is for more advanced. If you're doing very basic backlink strategies, in most cases you're going to have 3 blogs that are trying to publish your business. In most cases you're going to be able to do exact match anchors for most of the text, and that's going to be okay for you. So that's pretty much it for optimizing your SEO to try to get more leads and more visitors to your business. Again, I have videos and I keep talking about this, but I even have trainings, so 12 trainings for free. If you want to download them, they're going to be linked in the description below, where they give more details about how to optimize these things and more in-depth trainings basically on how to do this. So hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions, anything you'd like me to clarify. I'll try to answer every single one of them. If you'd like to subscribe, please subscribe. It will help me out a lot. And that's it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.